Francie Russell Chartered Accountants, the City of Greater Geraldton, Community Bank Geraldton, who have been serving the community for over 13 years. Melissa Price, the member for Durack, and Skeeters all day, every day on your home of GNFL football, Radio Mama.
And a very good afternoon. Welcome to Drennan O'Malley Motors Game Day. Lovely to have you company. A beautiful Sunday across the Midwest in the Gascoyne today, and hope it is going well at your place. We're just seeing the end of the reserves game. We are at the big one, the Red Dust Holdings Recreation Ground. Railways hosting Towns, the two top sides currently in the reserves, and we just saw a good win to Railways. Railways 6-5-41. Defeated Towns 4-3-27. It is round 5 of the Freemasons Premiership season, and 3 more crucial games today. As I mentioned, we're here for Drennan O'Malley Motors game today. So let's look at what happened in earlier games with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirralie War, the member for Geraldton. The Colts game, Railways 11-16-82, defeated Towns 1-1-7. So Railways sitting on top of the Premiership table in the Colts, undefeated at the moment. In the women's game, Towns 8-12-60 defeated Railways, 2 goals straight, 12. And the game that's just concluded, they swapped them around today because there's a special Women's Day here at Railways. And in the reserves, Railways 6-5-41 defeated Towns 4-3-27. Out at Mullawar today, the home side taking on Northampton, with both sides chasing their second win of the season. In the Colts today, out at Mullawar, Mullawar 13-10-88 defeated Northampton 4-9.
Hi there, I can't see the windsock from here, but there is a slight breeze favouring the Augusta Street end. Probably could be up to 2 goals, but that is a very thin windsock as well down there, so maybe not that much at all. But both sides are out on the park in a game that is probably, on paper, looks like a bit of a, and on results, a bit of a mismatch, but we do know that Towns are coming off a loss after having 2 wins coming into the season. Railways, well, they have taken all before them, but a game is always played on the day, and I'm sure that what we'll see today will be both sides at their best, Glenn.
Okay, let's look at the two sides. I've got the Towns side in front of me. From the fullback line, Cam Hoffhammer, Connor Lewis and Jake Chapman. Halfbacks, Drew Forrester, Rowan Farris and Corin Berrigan. Centre line of Caleb Sewell, also Zane Marwick and Arthur Garlett. And then we've got the half forwards of Josh DeLacy, James Simmons and Jackson Luff. Full forward line, Cohen Mosen, Jalen Parsons and Kane Johnson playing his first league game today, and we wish him well. First ruck for the Towns Bulldogs, Lachlan Morphew, Zane Marwick and also Callum Marquis, and Bo Walker, of course, will be in the centre as well. And the interchange players, Robert Bonney, Leon Jones Jr., Payden Mason and James Killo. So Towns have come up with a pretty formidable side, one would think. But Railways will start favourites. And Peter, you've got the Railways side in front of you.
Yes, from the back line it reads Sam Skelly, Ruben Ulrich and Jesse Moore. Spoke to Jesse Moore today on Sportshed Saturday, one of the veterans in the lineup, Glenn. We saw him play his first game as a debutant for Brigades many, many years ago, but now a veteran in the side. Riley Evans, Drew Tunbridge and Darcy Rowe on the half-back lines. Centre line comprises of James Huggins, Mitch Boyle and Blake Bunter. The half-forward line, Jace Price, Damien King, Jacob Williams. The full-forward line, Jesse Adamini, Zeth Farmer and Jordan Williamson. He's into the lineup. He goes into the lineup for I think,
Elliot
Delaney. That's right. The ruck division, Flynn Dillons, Chris Scott and Matt Kimberley. Interchange will come from Ben Saunders. Kobe Ryan, his debut for Railways. So good young Kobe. Spar used to teach him at Nagel. Blake Messina and Drayden Wingo. So that's the Blues for today, Glenn.
Very good, and a pretty good side. Yeah, you'd think that Railways have done everything right so far this year, but, you know, you're only one win away from your next loss, aren't you? So Towns will be looking back. You would expect them to be a little bit steely after their performance last week.
I think they won the toss, Glenn. If they didn't, they have got the breeze in the first term, kicking toward the Augusta Street end.
Yes, so umpires this afternoon for our big game for Drennan O'Malley Motors this afternoon. Umpires Darren Bryce and Randall Starling. So two very good umpires as the GNFL umpires. They've only got two today, but I don't have a problem with that, Peter, do you? I think sometimes we're over umpired.
Yeah,
and
it allows the game to flow a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, it should be a pretty quick game, but we do know that Towns have the ability to shut sides down. Railways have been able to be forceful and use the ball out of the centre. They've got a very forced and strong midfield there. At the moment, you've got the ruckman in Flynn Dillon. You've got the ruck rover in Chris Scott. You've got the centreman in Mitchell Boyle. And you've got the rover in Matt Kimberley. So you've got some very good players for Towns. You've got Lachlan Morphew, the ruckman. You've got Drew Forrester, the ruck rover. You've got Kane Zane Marwick, the centreman. And you've also got the other player there in Payton Mason, the ruck rover. Umpire Randall Starling to get this first term underway with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton. We're underway in this round 5 contest. Goes the way of Towns. Towns player put under pressure. Umpire says play on. And once again, umpire Starling will have to come in and throw the ball up on the outer side of the square on the Francis Street side. Beautiful conditions for football. Interesting to see the lights were used last night for an under-16 game between Railways and Northampton as Mitchell Boyle uses his pace to break out of the centre quickly, gets it up towards Seth Farmer. He couldn't control the ball. Pack develops. Umpire trying to give them the opportunity to slap the ball out, but umpire Starling will come in and throw the ball up. Well, 50 metres out from goal. The end to which Railways are kicking, which is the southern end in this quarter.
Yeah, the Sanford Street end of the ground. The ball thrown up, comes outside the defensive 54 Towns, and the ball will be thrown up once again. A reasonable crowd in attendance. Probably not the biggest of crowds that we've seen to date then, but when I was coming in this morning, there was a lot of cars outside the gate, so probably a lot of people in the stands, what we can't see here this afternoon. The ball going across the ground. It's marked by Callum Marquis now. Marquis with the peroxide hair this season comes down the wing in front of our broadcast position. Players setting themselves up they go, and a nice mark is taken by Jackson Luff. Jackson Luff into the lineup, formerly from the Brigades club, sends it down the line. Up they go. The mark can't be taken. Several arms go up. No one can get possession. Comes in the way of Morphew now. Gets to a teammate. Quickly onto his boot for the Bulldogs into the half-forward area. Will they get a smell of early success at the goal end? But no, the defence for Railways are resolute as they get onto that passage of play. Send it to the outer side and out of danger as it comes almost to centre wing. Running onto it now is that player in Jordan Williamson back into the lineup. Been under an injury cloud up to this point. The ball ricochets and goes over the line on the Francis Street side. It's centre wing. In fact, it was deliberate and a free kick going the way of Towns.
Drew Forrester, the captain of the Bulldogs, plays on quickly from centre wing, playing up the ground these days, not always in defence. Gets it up towards the forward pocket, deep into the pocket, just in front of the Adam Hunter scoreboard. Ball very close to the boundary line. Towns have an opportunity to goal. Run into an open goal. Good bit of play from Towns. Started on centre wing on the Francis Street side. And Drew Forrester was the player that set it up. And Jalen Parsons is the player that finished it off. Jalen Parsons was held to 3 goals.
He wasn't going to miss that one, Glenn.
No, he did it, made it sure. And it's a good idea, isn't it? Run the ball right in when you've got the ability to do so. And he did that. So Jalen Parsons gets the first score on the Adam Hunter Accountants scoreboard. And we can see now that Railways have behind because Towns have kicked the first goal of the term. and Jalen Parsons gets the scoreboard ticking over for Towns.
Yeah, he was part of that passage of play, finishing it off, but helped set it up on the half-forward line. Jalen Parsons, he is a goal sneak and a half, an important factor in the Towns lineup, that's for sure. Ball back in the middle now. Towns one straight goal. Railways yet to open their account. As I said, great conditions. Enjoying the weather so far. This type of the year I enjoy in Geraldton. The ball coming out of the middle off a Towns boot again. It goes across to the outer side. Zane Marwick is that player. Gets to a teammate at centre wing. They play on now down that Francis Street side, trying to set something up against Towns. It's up again, the Towns side. Get a bit of spring in their step, Glenn, as it comes off hands and spills over the boundary once again. So Towns back into attack once again.
Yeah, important to get the first score on the board, and well done from Towns. Railways did go forward. They went into their forward 50 first, but Towns on the rebound got a score on the board. Ball in Towns forward 50 now. They're at the city end of the ground, the end to which the breeze is blowing in this first term. Railways player is tackled, gets handballed a ball just in the nick of time, picked up now by Tunbridge. Tunbridge goes out wide, finds a teammate there in Jesse Moore. He gets it up towards centre wing. The ball running freely now as Jace Price gets a handball forward. Ball very close to the boundary line. There'll be a boundary throw-in on the Francis Street wing, and the boundary umpire will come in and throw the ball in. So a good contest here. Towns have come to play, so too have Railways, but Towns have been a little bit more prominent early. The ball to be thrown back into play. Early minutes in this first term were thanks to Community Bank Geraldton and Drilling Emily Motors Game Day. Goes the way of Chris Cross. He gets it to Ben Saunders, and Railways go forward now. They have the ball on half forward. Ball goes forward with a handball picked up by Towns' defence. Well done by Rowan Farris. He picks out Callum Marquis, and Marquis has the ball on half back now. Running with the ball now is a Towns player who could boot the ball in Jake Chapman. Awkward kick, but he got it up towards a player there in Jackson Luff. Comes back towards Railways now, and Railways do well through the big fella in Flynn Dillon. But gets a handball out only as far as Drew Tunbridge. Working hard for the ball is the Railways player in Matt Kimberley. Gives it to Flynn Dillon. Dillon's tackled. Ball comes to the ground. In goes Callum Marquis. He's tackled high, and Marquis will take the free kick. Plays on quickly, and he finds a teammate on centre wing. That teammate is Zane Marwick.
Marwick doesn't waste any time. Nonchalant in the end. Kicks it down into the forward pocket, comes off hands and spills over the boundary. Callum Marquis, over recent years, Glenn, has become much of a mainstay. A very important player in the Towns lineup, isn't he?
Oh, he's a great little player, and he's certainly developing nicely. And it's good to see him such a prominent player as such a young player.
Yeah, got good football IQ, as they say. Ball coming in now. Players diving on top of it. Doesn't go too far. Towns doing most of the attacking. We have told you they do have the breeze at their back, but I wouldn't think it's that strong at this stage. But it is a breeze, alas. The ball will be thrown up once again. So Towns keen to continue their ascendancy, putting the Railways defence under a lot of pressure in the early stages. A free kick going the way.
Good tackle
of Towns now. So the ball will come back, and the player with the ball at the moment is Kane Johnson. Kane Johnson now.
His first game.
He is. He's a new teacher here in Geraldton, I believe. So Kane Johnson kicks it up into the square, goes across the face of goal. The mark here will be timing for Towns over the back of the pack. Goes away Jalen Parsons. He doesn't waste opportunity. Kicks it straight up in the air, but it goes out on the full.
So the ball will be brought back in by the Railways defence. Railways defence has been very good this season, and they're under a bit of pressure now in the early stages of this first term. A long way to go in this contest, and we've played 8 minutes in this first term as Railways bring the ball across the face of goal, and it's taken now by Jager Williams. Williams comes out towards the clubroom side. No Railways players here. There's a couple of Towns players. They share it. Comes back to the Towns player who cleverly slaps it forward. That's Corin Berrigan. Picked up now by his teammate, Arthur Garlett. And Arthur Garlett shoots on goal, but he's offline and the ball goes out of bounds on the full. So Towns having a few opportunities, not getting the score on the board.
We're playing with a lot of purpose at the moment, Glenn, and their coach and all and sundry are pretty happy with them at the moment as they relieve the pressure. Under a lot of pressure at the moment, the defence for Railways. Deep in defence now. They go to the outer side. The ball coming out of the defensive zone for Railways goes to ground. Towns have it again. In the thick of things, it looks like it is Towns who have it again will do, though. They go toward the boundary. Railways under siege. Goes away now of Bunter. Bunter for the Blues sends it inboard. Wingo has it now. He sends it inboard too. They're playing with it. Don't really know what to do with it, Railways. They're scratching its rules at the moment, and Towns are really putting on the vice-like clamps to ensure that they're keeping it in their forward 50, but on this occasion a free kick going the way of the Blues. Off the half-back line it comes now, down the wing. A lot of the game being played on the Francis Street side of the ground, and as Glenn said, a nice mark is taken by the Towns custodian. That's Rowan Farris, and he certainly does take a good mark. Coming into the middle of the ground, Farris finds a teammate there in Marwick.
Marwick played for Railways last season, Towns this season.
He does. Marwick sends it into the half-forward area. The mark isn't taken. Comes off hands, but bounces just in front of the scoreboard. Railways working overtime. Towns putting on all the pressure. I would think that they need another goal soon to consolidate some of the effort they're putting into their forward 50. The ball going the way of a couple of players now. No one can get possession of it. The ball going up and down. Players diving on top of it. Railways, as I said, grabbing at straws at the moment as they kick to the outer side. Up they go, trying to... No one can buy a kick from either side at the moment as the ball goes from one player to the other. Under pressure, it comes down the middle of the ground. Railways get their first breakaway now down the middle of the ground, but a nice mark is taken in defence. So Railways know what they're doing. I should say Towns, as they play on now down the middle of the ground. A little bit errant in that kick. Met by the Railways midfielders, and Kimberley's one of those. He's quickly set upon. Gee, I'm really impressed by the audacity in which Towns are playing at the moment, Glenn, and it's paying dividends.
They're certainly doing well. Umpire Starling has to come in and throw the ball up on the side of the square to which Towns are kicking. And Towns kicking towards the city end. Picked up now by Mitchell Boyle. He slips over at the crucial stage. Railways get it out through Williams. He gets it the way of Tunbridge. He gets it up the ground. In fact, it was Riley Evans. That was Sam Scully. He gets it over to Wingo. Wingo gets it up in towards the centre of the ground, looking again for the hard-working player there in Kimberley. Kimberley has the ball held to him, and umpire Starling will come and throw the ball up. Middle stages of this first term were thanks to Community Bank Geraldton. Beautiful conditions for football, and big 3 games happening in the GNFL today for Freemasons Hotel. As the ball comes out through Mitchell Boyle, gets it up towards centre-half forward, finds Chris Scott. He goes by hand to Blake Bunter. Bunter puts it on his left boot, shoots towards goal, and Blake Bunter is offline. And on the first score for Railways this afternoon, on the Adam Hunter accounted scoreboard, it is Railways 1 behind. They trail Towns 1 goal straight.
Bob's Bar and the Old Man and the Sea, they're 2 nice places to go and have a meal or get with friends here in Geraldton, and you'll find them in the Gerald Hotel. The ball coming out from a player in Farris now. Nice big kick. Comes inside the centre square. Players diving on top of it. No one can get possession, and the umpire will throw it up once again. So Towns really holding the favourites or opposition. Railways here this afternoon to this point. Railways only one sortie forward in the early stages or middle stages of the first term. I say that, and another one comes inside the forward 50. The forward's trying to work hard to gather the ball. And the ball being collected and thrown up by umpire Starling once again. He throws it up. Players setting themselves. Up they go. Flynn Dillon was one of those. He didn't get connection, though, with the ball. It goes to ground. Towns at the fore of the ball. Collect it. On the outer side, they have it now. They kick down that Francis Street side. If they get a run on here, things could look dangerous against the defence for Railways. But Railways, the game plan has been torn apart at the moment by Towns as it goes away now. Well, that player sends it into the half-forward area. Inside the forward 50. No Towns play together. Defence for Railways. Scally, one of those. He's under pressure, puts it onto his boot, kicks to the outer side, looking for Wingo. Wingo not equal to the task, and it finds the boundary. So Marquis was the player I was trying to think of, Glenn, getting a lot into the game now and being a good link man for the Bulldogs.
Yes, Towns have come to play, as would expect they would, rebounding after their loss last weekend. Railways look a little bit flat, but it's only as good as what they've been allowed to play, and Towns' defence is working well. They're playing their game to the way Bo Walker wants them to play at the moment. Can they keep that up as the Railways look to break the shackles? They come out of defence there, and they have it on half back. Goes the way of the Railways player who gets it up the ground, but not to where he wants because he's picked out a Towns player. That player is Rowan Farris. Ball smothered off the boot, and gives Railways an opportunity to rebound through Kimberley. Ball spills, comes back to Jesse Adamini by hand to Mitchell Boyle. He under pressure gets a kick out, and he's picked out a teammate there in Kobe Ryan. Kobe Ryan plays the on quickly, gets it up towards Chris Scott. He couldn't hold the mark, under good pressure there from the Towns player in Jake Chapman. And there'll be a boundary throw-in just in front of the coach's box here at Red Dust Holdings Recreation Ground. And the boundary umpire to put the ball back into play. And Flynn Dillon, the ruckman for Railways, Lockie Morphew, the ruckman for Towns.
Jake Chapman certainly wasn't intimidated by his opposite number then, as we see Adamini come out of that passage of play, sends it down toward the player then, Boyle. Boyle's looking for a free kick. I don't know what for. The ball was fiercely knocked out of his hands over the boundary, clearly beaten on that occasion. The ball about to be thrown in front of our broadcast position.
Yeah, Cameron Hofhammer did well then.
He certainly did. Players setting themselves. Up they go. Flynn Dillon. He's under siege at the moment, the big fella. At 6s and 7s, as we see Towns, they are just going hammer and tong for the ball, Glenn. They are putting a lot of pressure on the ball carrier, and Railways are not handling it well at the moment.
Yes, we're heading into the 20-minute mark soon, about 17 minutes gone in this first term, with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton. Really good contest. A beautiful bit of play there from Flynn Dillon. Knocks it down to Jace Price. Gets it over to Kimberley, to Blake Bunter. Back to Jace Price. He breaks across half forward. Takes them on. Gets a kick away just in the nick of time. Gives Railways an opportunity there if they could get a hold of the ball in Damien King. But you don't get the ball very easy when Rowan Farris is around. He gave it over to a teammate, and that teammate cleared the decks for Towns. Gets it up towards half forward. Towns' Bo Walker goes towards the ball. Ball spills out. Comes back towards Zane Marwick. Marwick centres the ball, but his kick is a poor one because it picked out the Railways defence there in Ruben Ulrich. Ulrich gets it on to a teammate in Evans. He gets it up towards the player in Scott. And now the ball's on centre wing. And the Railways player looked a little bit awkward there as he's under pressure from the Towns player. And Peyton Mason put the pressure on. And umpire will come in now, and umpire Bryce throws the ball up. He's seen a free kick, and it'll go the way of Railways, and that's Chris Scott. He breaks away, takes the advantage rule, kicks it up towards Seth Farmer. He almost took a good mark. In goes Simmons. Simmons couldn't hold the pack. Picked up now by Farmer. Kicks it towards full forward. Looking there for Jesse Adamini. He's dangerous around goals. Goes to Wingo. Wingo from 30 metres. Kicks it high into the air. Pack into the ball. The only player there is a Towns defender.
That's Farris.
And he stood his mark. And well done, Rowan Farris, the last line of defence for the Bulldogs.
Marked it on the ground too, did the veteran for the Bulldogs, Rowan Farris. When he first came to town, he didn't even know how to kick a ball. Now he's one of the stars of the competition. In the 70-year side for Towns, I believe, Glenn.
He is.
And also has been an all-star every year since its inception. The ball coming in now from Railways, and they're just trying their hardest to get inside their forward 50 and get a score on the board, but alas, it hasn't happened yet. The ball goes over the line. Deep attack now for the Blues. But
well, Railways certainly know they're in a game at the minute, so Towns putting the pressure on. Still plenty of time in this contest. And on the Adam Hunter Accountant scoreboard, it is Railways 1 goal, Towns 1 goal straight, Railways 1 behind.
Yeah, thanks to Community Bank. As the ball goes to ground, it's picked up off the ground by the Railways player. Quickly puts it onto his boot.
Now they'll get their first goal.
A mark is taken, and it's taken by Chris Scott, and it's marked inside the goal square. So Chris Scott is only metres away on a slight angle, kicking toward the Shenton Street end. So Chris Scott's got a few in his day, and that certainly was no challenge for the big fella. And he scores the first goal of the afternoon. Towns, I should say, Railways now take the lead. As we get to the latter stages of the first term, they are 1-1, and they lead Towns the 1 straight goal. But it took a little while in coming that first goal for the Blues.
Yeah, moving into time on in this first term. Won't be a long quarter. And as you said, Railways got their first score on the major sense and take the lead by a point. So Towns have had the use of what little breeze there is, but the breeze is certainly favouring the city end of the ground. So Railways will have the use of it, of course, in the next term. Ball back in the centre with umpire Darren Bryce and Randall Starling in control this afternoon. Two of the GNFL's umpires doing a wonderful job. And the ball is in the centre again. So Towns looking for something to happen. And
young
Flynn,
Leon Jones, the secondary
junior
ruckman, yeah.
So he's up against Flynn, and Leon Jones gets the best of it. Goes back towards Leon Jones. He goes by hand, Comes back to a Towns player there, working hard. It's young Caleb Sewell. Sewell gets through traffic. Ball goes a big kick up towards full forward. Towns need a kick. They need a goal. Ball in the forward 50. Only 20 metres from goal. Whistle on play. Umpire's seen a free kick. It'll go the way of Railways. And the Railways defence. The player gets up holding his head. So I take it he must have got a head-high tackle or a clash. So Towns give that one away and waste an opportunity. So Railways, Sam Scully, who's been very good for the Blues.
He has. He's been has a lot more work than he has from most of the season to this point.
Sam Scully in the back pocket, goes with a short pass, picks out Jesse Moore. Jesse Moore, the veteran, goes by hand, feeds it out to the hard-running Railways player there in Darcy Rowe. He gets it up the ground, looking for Jager Williams. Jager Williams takes it on, goes whack towards Ruben Ulrich. Towns putting good pressure on. Towns player there with the push was Kane Johnson. Ball comes out, comes the way of Towns' James Killo, and the ball will be thrown up once again by umpire Bryce, right on centre wing in front of our Radio Mama broadcast box at Red Dust Holdings Recreation Ground.
Not much in it here as we head toward the first break here. Thanks for Melissa Price, a member for Durack. Free kick going the way of Towns. A sling tackle, according to the umpire. Play with the ball is Hayden Mason, wearing the pigtail or ponytail. He sends it into the half-forward area, just outside the centre square. It drops, though. Players diving on top of it. No one wants it. Looks like a bit of a rugby scrum at the moment.
Stacks on the mill.
Certainly was, Glenn, and the ball will be thrown up in that vicinity. So another goal here to Towns would be value for effort, one would think. The breeze at their back goes away Messina, though, for Railways. Curtailed his efforts. He goes to ground. So, too, is that player in Boyle who rolls through like he's in a bowling alley. The ball coming out of that passage of play. Scott gets it into space. Williams has it now. Williamson back into the lineup, wearing the number 15. He runs down the wing, puts it out into space. He's looking for a player to run onto it. That player's a little bit late to get there. That's Flynn Dillon, and he takes it over the boundary.
And that's the advantage of Flynn Dillon, because he can go up the ground, and he certainly can be a useful tool in the forward line.
Like you today, Glenn.
Yes, he's looking very slick, isn't he? So the ball to be thrown back into play. Of course, Flynn Dillon won our Skitters Restaurant Player of the Day last week. Who will win it this week? We'll tell you as the game progresses. Goes the way of Zane Marwick. He has the ball held to him, tackled to the ground by Jace Price, and umpire Starling will come and throw the ball up. 30 metres from goal at the southern end of the ground. Dying stages of this first term, taken again by the big man in Flynn Dillon. Feeds it out towards Jace Price. He throws it on his boot, and the ball goes out of bounds. In fact, it was marked beautifully by the player there in Rowan Farris. Rowan Farris says, I marked it back there. I'm not quite sure about that. The ball comes the way of the player in James Simmons. James Simmons plays on now, gets it up towards centre wing, and a good strong mark under a fair bit of pressure there from the Towns player in Drew Forrester. Forrester goes up the ground, finds a teammate in James Killo, and James Killo sees the ball across the boundary line. There'll be a boundary throw-in on the Francis Street side of Red Dust Holdings Recreation Ground. So, Railways on the Adam Hunter scoreboard, 1-7. They lead Towns 1 goal straight, 6. And you're on Radio Mama, your home of GNFL football on Drennan O'Malley Motors Game Day.
Getting close to quarter time as Railways come away from that passage of play on the Francis Street side. Messina quickly onto his boot, puts it inboard. Inside the centre square it comes. Players diving on top of it. A few players trying to get a kick for Railways. The ball on the half-back line now. Well, should almost up to the centre line, actually, as the ball comes down now into the half-forward line. It's picked up by that player in Kimberley. Spins around on a 50-cent piece inside the corridor. If Railways can run onto it, they can finish off well here for another goal. But defence for the Bulldogs is working well as they go laterally now. And that comes from Josh DeLacy. Josh DeLacy, of course, is a premiership player, I think, with Towns' cricket side again this year, Glenn.
Yes.
So he's a talented young man, isn't he?
Yes, good to see him playing good footy, good cricket, a very good sports person. Ball thrown up now, 45 metres from goal as the siren sounds, and it's quarter time of the football. And on the Adam Hunter scoreboard, we can tell you a very tight contest. Nothing in it. There's 1 point in it. Railways are 1-7. Towns are 1 goal straight, 6. And you're tuned to Radio Mama, your home of GNFL football.
Our Drennan O'Malley Motors GNFL Game Day. great sponsors, the City of Greater Geraldton, working with sporting groups and families to make our lifestyle even better. Stay tuned to the home of GNFL football, Radio Mama.
And a very good afternoon. Welcome back to Dread and O'Malley Motors Game Day. Radio Mama, your home of GNFL footy. Glenn Bunn and Peter Forenza calling all the action this afternoon. Round 5 of the Freemasons Premiership season. And it's been a very, very good start to the game. And looking at the quarter-by-quarter scores with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirralie War, the member for Geraldton. The other games that are being played today, there's a game up at Mullawar between Mullawar and Northampton. As soon as we have a score from that game, we'll bring it to you. Quarter time of the game out at Greenough, and Brigades 4-2-26 lead Rovers no score. And in our broadcast match, Railways 1-1-7 lead Towns 1 goal straight. Goal scorers for Railways, Chris Scott has kicked 1. And for Towns, Jalen Parsons has kicked 1. Our contenders for the Skitters Restaurant Player of the Day. Peter, you're looking after Railways better players today who enjoyed some success in the first term.
Well, no particular order. Matt Kimberley getting a bit of the ball. Blake Messina, ditto for him. Sam Scully doing well in defence, under siege somewhat. And Chris Scott getting a bit of the ball today.
And looking at better players for Towns, I thought Callum, Marquis, Zane Marwick. And in defence, Rowan Farris and Jane Simmons. And Lachlan Morphew working hard in the centre as we see Kimberley win the ball out of the centre. And this second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack, on Dread and O'Malley Motors Game Day. And we're underway in this second term. And it goes back to Kimberley, to Bunter. Blake Bunter fans it out to Jace Price. He goes up the ground, finds Chris Scott on the Francis Street half-forward line. Goes by a handball there to Jesse Adamini. Adamini, big kick up towards full forward. Pack into the air, ball comes to the ground. Railways looking to get a kick on the ball as quick as they can. But umpire will come in and throw the ball up. Umpire Bryce will throw the ball up about 25 metres away from the goal. And the forward pocket nearest the scoreboard for GBSC in this second term. The ball comes back into play. Towns get a handball picked up now by the defence, picked up by Morphew. He gets a kick forward and it's picked out by a player there in Luff. Luff plays on quickly, kicks it up towards centre wing. Nobody home for Towns. Railways can rebound through Bunter. Ball spills, comes to the ground, picked up again by the Towns player. Working hard there with the ball is Farris, who's been very good. Gets in the way of young Leon Jones. Jones kicks it up the ground, looking again for a teammate there in Connor Lewis. Ball comes out, picked up by Railways, and Railways can mop up, and they do it well through Chris Scott. Goes by hand to a teammate there in Evans. Evans gets up the ground a little bit forward, looking for Williams. Comes the way of Williams now. He gets it out towards a teammate, but Towns can rebound. And they do with a short pass, goes the way of Marwick. Marwick plays on, looking again for Luff. Luff's got 2 to beat, gets pushed out of it, goes back in. Ball goes the way of Ben Saunders. He feeds it out, gets it away to a teammate. That player is Riley Evans, gets it up the ground, and he finds Jordan Williamson.
Jordan Williamson now plays on a nice big kick into the full forward area. Running onto it are a couple of players. The Railways player is first in the race, but not quick enough or nimble enough to pick up the ball, and it has taken over the boundary. The scoreboard hasn't changed in the early stages of the second term, thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. There's 1-1 Railways leading Towns the one straight goal. Kicking toward the Augusta Street end, the end to which the ball, the zone in which the ball is in at the moment. Ball coming in now, players setting themselves. The umpire says no prior opportunity once again. So the ball about to be thrown up in the shadows of the goals of the Augusta Street end. The ball coming out of the pack, going the way of Marwick. He's been instrumental for Towns. Gets to a teammate, back to Marwick. Out of defence he comes. He kicks to the outer side, the Francis Street side of the ground. Finds a teammate there in Marquis. Marquis is quickly set upon, tackled without the ball. And Marquis will be the recipient of a free kick.
As we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirralie War, the member for Geraldton, up at Mullawar, it is Northampton 4-4-28, and they lead Mullawar 2-2-14. So a good contest there as they are around the grounds this afternoon. So 14-28 at Mullawar, and it is a good tight scoreline. Looking at the game here as Railways go forward again, they have it up on the half-forward line. And Railways look a little bit more intense in this quarter, and they've lifted their work rate. Ball comes the way now of Railways. Picked up, thrown on the left boot, goes forward, whistle on player. A player was held while not in possession, and that's a Railways player who will get the free kick, and he's only 25 metres from goal on a 45-degree angle, probably a 20-metre from goal, and has an opportunity now to shoot on goal and get another score on the board for the Blues. So Railways player with the ball is their big man in Seth Farmer, only a young man, but a very, very talented footballer. Seth Farmer, 20 metres out, 45 degrees, shoots on goal. Goal umpire says you didn't get it through the right post. Minor score results. And on the scoreboard for GBSC in this term, Railways go to 1-2. They lead Towns 1 goal straight. But you can sense that Railways are playing with a little bit more purpose in this term, a little bit more intensity. So Towns need to withstand this and regroup. So everyone is in the forward half. Everyone pretty well is forward of the centre, well and truly. So they've really closed it down. Towns can do this quite well. Ball goes away now. Railways have an opportunity if they can pick it up. Ball thrown over the head. Goes to a Railways player there in Chris Scott. Chris Scott centres the ball, looking for some options. Railways player in Blake Bunter went in to get the ball. Couldn't get a handle on it at the time. And the umpire has to come in and throw the ball up about 25 metres from goal. Once again in the forward line for the Railways side as time ticks by in this second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Yeah,
it's sticking around in this forward 50 for the Blues, but they're not able to break the shackles of the Bulldogs' defence at the moment. At quarter time, there was just the point in it. Now only 2 points in it. Railways only scored at this point of the second term. They're all coming out of defence now. But it goes away with a Railways player who shoots on goal. And it's inaccurate and through for the minor score. So both sides have had it in their forward 50 just as often
and
now.
Pretty well all the players on the backward side of the square.
To this point of the game, in the first quarter it was Towns, and now Railways peppering their forward 50, as Glenn said. Nearly all the players in this half of the ground. Looks like a chess game, doesn't it, Glenn?
Yes, wish it was as interesting.
And the ball coming out of defence now. Ron Farris, probably the best on field at the moment. Sends it down the line, but it's marked by that player in Flynn Dillon, the tallest player in that passage of play. Gives it away to Scott, who shoots on goal. It's a big kick from Scott. In the last line of defence, it's marked by Farris once again. He's taken a few marks in the little time this game's been running so far, Glenn. Probably about 5 marks. We've only been a quarter and a bit. The ball on the far side. This player too playing on well. Mark was dealt with when he got rid of the ball.
Well,
so he'll get a 50-metre penalty down the ground. So that was pretty careless by the Railways custodian.
Well, it was silly because he was kicking along the boundary line. He had no one to kick to.
No, he didn't.
Now they've got an opportunity to regroup at their side of the ground now. Okay, so Towns have it.
The ball.
Leon Jones
sends it in. Oh, all on his lonesome. The mark is taken just outside the forward 50. And the player that has taken that is it Caleb Sewell? I think it might be on Caleb Sewell.
No, Kane Johnson.
Kane Johnson into the full forward area. Shoot on goal. And that was a nice by Marwick. I mean, I think it was Marwick that shot that goal. We'll see when this player runs back against. He is an uncanny player indeed. And Zane Marwick has put his side back in front here on our Adrenaline O'Malley game day.
Well, we saw Railways go forward on a number of occasions. They didn't get the score on the board. Towns' defence was good. Towns were able to work the ball up through Callum Marquis, who was interfered with, gave away a free kick up the ground. So Towns were able to make something out of nothing because Callum had no one to kick to, a free kick and then a 50-metre, and a good finish there by Zane Marwick. So a good bit of play as we see time tick on in this term. We've played 8 minutes in this second term with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. And on the GBSC scoreboard, it is Towns 2 goals straight. Railways are 1-3. So we have a leader at the moment, Towns, by the narrowest of 3 points.
You're listening to us on Radio Mumma, the home of GFL football, and watching and listening to us on Filming Footy. The ball out of the middle from Adamini. That was pretty clever, roving out of the pack like Petrarca. He sends it inboard now, across the face of goal, goes to Wingo. They'll set something up here, or will they? The kick from Wingo drops short. It bounces inside the forward 50, going toward the boundary and taken over that wide line. In fact, a free kick, deliberate, says the umpire, and a free kick will go the way of Towns. As they come out of defence now, Marwick playing at both ends of the ground, Glenn, so a very important player. And
he's a good player. Good cricketer too, of course.
Pivotal player. I always have trouble with that word. Pivotal player as he kicks across the face of goal now. And Towns having a bit of a hold on proceedings at the moment as the ball comes down the ground in front of the grandstand here at the recreation ground. There is again Marwick. He's in everything this afternoon. So too this player, and I'm talking about a player there and gets it away to a teammate into space. Just in front of the grandstand and the dugout for the Railway side. It goes over the boundary off a Towns player, and the ball will be thrown in. So Towns have continued where they left off in the first term. Now, I mean, in the way that they're putting pressure on their more fancied opponents in Railways. Ball coming out of the pack now. Goes away of Bunter. Bunter handballs over his head to no one. And no one was able to collect it as the ball goes to ground again. Players diving on top of it. Ball coming out of a passage of play there and coming down the ground though.
Jalen Parsons.
He's a good player as Parsons. He's got the ball. He's seen a bit of space and off he goes like Usain Bolt. Goes one way then the other. Gets it down the ground. Gets it to a teammate who's more than equal to the task in Bo Walker. Bo Walker uses the ball cleverly as he passes on to another red and white Guernsey. They send it inboard inside the corridor. The Towns players don't know what to do with it, like a hot potato. Railways do the better, though. They get it out of the kitchen and kick it back to the outer side.
Ball's on the outer side. Towns player there working hard is Josh DeLacy, but Railways do well through Kimberley. Kimberley feeds it out to Jesse Adamini. He slaps the ball in front of him, but he knocks it too far. Goes away of Morphew, but cleverly soccers the ball forward. Goes back towards the Railways player with the ball is the player there in Jesse Moore. Gets it back to Mitchell Boyle. Mitchell Boyle puts it on his left boot, screws it around the corner, looking there for the hard-running player for Railways in Seth Farmer, but the ball goes out of bounds. And there'll be a boundary throw in the left forward pocket, city end of the ground. Time ticking by in this second term. And at the GBSC score, you can see Towns, a 2-goal straight 12. They lead Railways 1-3-9. So Towns have the ball in defence. Once again, Rowan Farris gets the ball forward, picks out a teammate, and Towns can do something with it through Corin Berrigan. He gets it out, but Railways rebound just as quick. It goes from the Railways player and Kobe Ryan, gets it to Jesse Adamini. In goes the player again, back towards the player there in Ryan. Comes away now, there's Darcy Rowe. This ball's on half forward, but pretty well, once again, all the players of both sides are forward as centre, so it's clogged up pretty well. So Towns have been able to clog it up pretty well for Railways in this second term. So they'll be pretty happy with the way things are going. Railways have lifted their work rate as big fella in Flynn Dillon grabs the ball, but under pressure kicks the ball out of bounds on the full. So Towns to bring the ball back in. And once again, Rowan Farris will be the recipient of the free kick. So Rowan Farris in the back pocket on the club room side, comes up towards the Railways club rooms where he finds Zane Marwick.
The two best players probably on the park so far this afternoon, Marwick and Farris. They get it down the ground to the half-back line now. Playing with a little confidence, a lot more confidence. Well, since the beginning of the game, they've been playing with confidence, have Towns. Comes down the line now. Player to take the mark is Arthur Garlett. Garlett knows what to do with the ball. He's a clever player, this fella. He sends it inboard in front of our broadcast position. It's fisted away by a player in Scally. Goes to ground. Marquis in the thick of things tries to get it out to a teammate and help without the ball. He's having a good...
Yeah, they're putting a bit of pressure on him, but he's standing up very strongly.
He's equal to the challenge, isn't he? Not much of him, but he certainly has the smarts about him. Does the player in Callum Marquis. As I said, the peroxide hair, maybe that's helped him out again this year. Picking up where he left off in his progression as a footballer. Down the line again it goes. It's picked up this time by Leon Jones Jr. He doesn't dispose of it that well. Goes away of Railways now. There's Flynn Dillon. Not as impacting as he usually is. He handballs straight to a player there who's dangerous, and that player is Marwick. Marwick too distributes to the ball not that well. The ball goes to ground. It's picked up by Railways now. And there he is again, Flynn Dillon. He kicks it down the line. He's looking for Williamson. Williamson needs to use his speed here and his strength to play on. But he's met by Rowan Farris. Farris is knocked to ground. No, Farris is up again. And he doesn't give up, does this fella, like a dog with a bone. And he may have done something to his shoulder too, Glenn, the way he's running is Farris.
Yeah,
but
he's hurt his shoulder.
We'll find out a little bit later on. He's a tough hombre. Ball going forward now for Railways. It goes into the shadows of the goals at the Augusta Street end. Goes across the face of the big white sticks and out of bounds. So we'll just watch Rowan Farris for a little while now because he really was solidly hit by Williamson, wasn't he?
He certainly was. It's a tough contest, as you'd expect. Players going at it pretty hard this afternoon. Two top sides currently, Railways and Towns. And the boundary umpire puts the ball back into play, about 10 metres around from the right point post, the city end of the ground. Railways go forward again. Railways have the ball at their end. Ball picked up now by the Railways player in Kimberley. He runs into an open goal from 15 to 20 metres out and misses, and another wasted opportunity. So Railways peppering away but not getting the score on the board. On the GBSC scoreboard, it is Railways 1-4. They trail Towns 2 goals straight. So the importance of efficiency in front of goal playing out once again as we quickly go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirralie War, the member for Geraldton. The game up at Mullawar. Northampton at quarter time, 4-4. 28 lead Mullawar 2-2-14, and in the other game out at Greenough, Brigades 4-2-26 lead Rovers, no score.
Kimberley sends it back in from an errant kick, goes away Williamson. He doesn't waste any time and scores a much-needed goal for the Blues.
Yeah, a much-needed goal. Fair call there, Peter, because they have been up there. They haven't got the score on the board, but Jordan Williamson back in the lineup today, and he gets his first of the afternoon and a much-needed goal for the Railways side. Still a very low-scoring contest in such beautiful conditions. Goal scorers at the moment, we have Chris Scott has kicked one, and now Jordan Williamson has kicked one for the Blues. And for the Bulldogs, Jalen Parsons has kicked one, and Zane Marwick has kicked one.
So this quarter brought to you by Melissa Price, the member for Durack, as we head closer and closer to the big break here at our Drennan O'Malley game day. It is, as Glenn said, a low-scoring game. 2-4 plays 2, and that is Railways having the ascendancy over Towns, but the pressure on the ball carrier, like it has been in most of the games we have watched so far this year, has been quite intense and seems to be the appetite for football at the moment. Tight, uncompromising, what's the word?
Uncompromising.
Uncompromising, that's it, Glenn. Uncompromising football.
Yeah,
ball
not
back
pretty, but it's the way footy is rolling out at the moment.
Certainly is back with the umpire now, umpire Starling. And the ball about to be thrown up now. Players setting themselves. Up goes Lockie Morphew, a bit higher than his opponent on this occasion. Wins it, but throws it down the throat of Saunders, who quickly puts it onto his boot for the Blues into the half-forward area over the top of Jesse Moore. He's unable to control the ball. Towns defenders do better, but battle to get it out of the defensive zone. Eventually off the boot it comes of a Bulldog player into space. Running onto it is Boyle, not as freely playing as he has in recent weeks, or the last game that we saw indeed. He works hard, though, does Boyle, to try and have second and third opportunities at the ball, and it pays dividends because Boyle is now the recipient of a free kick.
Yeah, you read it well there, Peter. He keeps coming and he keeps bouncing back, and he did well. Gets it out to the back pocket or back flank where he finds player there. Sends it forward, and Tunbridge picks out a teammate, and they go forward again to the Blues through Darcy Rowe. Gets it up towards centre wing, where he finds Matt Kimberley, getting a lot of kicks again. Gets it away, looking there for Flynn Dillon. Flynn slides in on his knees, but couldn't grab the ball. Ball goes out of bounds. There'll be another boundary throw-in on the outer side. Heading towards time on in this second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Once again, you would think it was raining when you look at the scoreboard. Beautiful conditions here at the Red Dust Holdings Recreation Ground. 2-4, 16 are the Blues. Towns are 2 goals straight. So a 4-point ball game as we head towards half-time in favour of the home side. Railways get the rebound now with a good mark, and Railways have it through Scully. Scully gets in the way of Chris Scott in the centre of the ground. Chris Scott running strongly, gets the ball forward, looking there for Ben Saunders. Ben Saunders takes a good grab on half forward. Ben Saunders goes back, sets sail for home. Beautiful kick and nice a very good goal. Ben Saunders says, that's how you do it, gents. And he kicked a beautiful goal from 50 metres out. And Railway's starting to get the edge as we head towards half-time. And on the GBSC scoreboard, it is Railways 3 goals 4. They lead Towns 2 goals straight. And good goal there. Very good goal from Ben Saunders.
Certainly he is a talented player as Ben Saunders, getting a bit long in the tooth now, but certainly knows how to kick a footy and send it toward the goals, and on that occasion he did let his side down, but starting to figure also in certain passages of play that are giving the edge to the Blues, especially in the latter stages of the first half. This is Drennan O'Malley Game Day on Radio Mumma, the home of GNFL football, also watching it on Filming Footy. Good afternoon. Peter Forenza and Glenn Barnden with you. And this quarter, as I've said, brought to you by Melissa Price, the member for Durack. 2-4 plays 2 straight goals in favour of the Blues here at their home, the Recreation Ground. Up they go. The ball coming out of the middle of Chris Scott now. Gets it to Boyle. Boyle in turn, a searching handball. He finds Darcy Rowe. In fact, Rowe gets it to a teammate, straight onto his boot and down the wing into the half-forward area. There's almost a faultless passage of play. If that player had taken the mark, going the way of Adamini now, he doesn't waste any time in getting it back to a teammate there in Damien King. King sends it laterally. He's dealt with when he gets rid of the ball, did he? But the ball will come back. I think it's gone over the boundary, I think, perhaps.
Yeah, boundary umpire.
But the boundaries don't take long to come up here at the Recreation Ground. Of course, if people that don't know, the Recreation Ground is not the perfect oval of a football oval. It has straight
long and slender,
wings,
isn't it?
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
It has straight wings, which is makes it quite unique in the world of GNFL
Because
football.
most ovals are pretty round, aren't they?
They certainly are. Ball coming in now, players setting themselves. Chris Scott, he's been in most of the play today, and it's paid dividends to some extent. Comes off hands and spills over the boundary once again. So, Glenn, as you said, it's great conditions for football, but style of football, we've talked about it over recent weeks and also on our various sports programs. We haven't been too enthused by it.
Well, last week we saw a situation similar as we see Chris Scott go forward again, and this time he's got another one. So the Blues are setting the world on fire in the last couple of minutes, and Chris Scott gets a good goal there from 45 metres, swung the ball around, and all of a sudden Railway's starting to take the control of the game as we head towards half-time. And a good goal there from Chris Scott. That's his second of the afternoon. And on the GBSC scoreboard, it is Railways 4-4. They lead Towns 2-2. And, yeah, you were talking about it last week. Brigades and Railways at half-time. It was Railways 3-4 to Brigades 1-3. And it's not unsimilar to that today. 4 to 2 goals. So a situation in beautiful conditions where sides can shut each other down. But Chris Scott starting to get on top now. And Railways, in the context of this game, have the biggest lead, of course, of the day. So doing okay as we head towards the siren here at half-time in what has been a pretty entertaining game of footy.
Chris Scott, the most impacting player for his side to this point, and he has joined the Blues from the Rover Football Club this year, but starting to find his feet today, that's for sure. The ball coming out of the middle now, goes away with that particular player in Scott. Saunders over the back, though. Gets it to a teammate quickly, handballs it away, and that is Sam Skelly. Skelly gets it to Tunbridge. Tunbridge, the veteran defender. He is a former cross medal winner here at the club. He sends it down across to the Francis Street side of the ground. There's Boyle again. Goes backward and forward. Gets it to Bunter. Bunter sees the lead. The lead isn't a good one. That player is quickly set upon, but eventually he gets it. He sends it further afield now. That player is Damien King. Uncanny in his efforts. Up into the air the ball goes on this occasion. Towns under siege. Can they handle the pressure or continue to? As the whistle sounds, a player is tackled, caught with the ball. And a free kick will go the way of young Wingo. This young Wingo has promised a little. He's come up through the ranks here at Railways and certainly has a little bit of talent. And we'll see what he can do here and if he can finish off. He's going to kick from about 45 metres or maybe just on 50 when he gets onto this one. Kicking toward the Augusta Street end. Wingo. It's going to drop shorter, is it? No, it's straight through the middle.
Through.
That's a great goal by Wingo, and his teammates will be pretty happy about that. I think that is his first goal in A grade, I should say, in league football here in the GNFL.
So Drayden Wingo getting his good goal there. So Railways have really been on top in this quarter. Railways have kicked some 4 goals for the term, so doing very well indeed. So a good effort there, and Drayden Wingo becomes another goal scorer for his side.
So, Glenn, as you probably alluded to, Towns not using the breeze to their advantage in the first term.
No.
And they're paying the price now.
They are, and they didn't get, pressure on, and that's what happens. So Drayden Wingo becomes the 4th goal scorer of the afternoon for his club, Railways. And Railways will be pretty happy taking a pretty comfortable lead into the half-time break. Umpire Starling to put the ball back into the ground.
5-4 plays 2 straight.
Morphew up against the young player in Seth Farmer. Ball comes to the ground, picked up by Towns, and Towns get the ball forward. Big bit of play there. Can Towns make something while they have the ball in the forward 50? Goes the way of Blake Messina. Well smothered by the Towns player. Ball comes forward. Goes the way of Chris Scott now. Feeds a handball out. Towns working to get the ball towards the boundary line. And Railways player is put to the ground and needs to be, and the umpire will come in. And there's a fair bit of pushing and shoving. And the Towns player was dealt with. And there was pretty good vision of that. So I'm sure that will be dealt with as the day unfolds and the week unfolds. So the free kick will go the way of Callum Marquis. So Callum Marquis with the free kick. So Callum Marquis with the free kick in front of the Radio Mama broadcast box here. Bit of temper, a little bit of feel. As Callum Marquis, who's dealt with, plays on, kicks it forward, covers his teammate, comes back towards the Railways players, caught in possession, and the free kick will come back to Towns. And Towns will have the free kick through the player there in Drew Forrester. Drew Forrester on the backward side of the square. Towns desperate for a goal before half-time. Kick it up towards half-forward. But once again, Railways have the numbers. Picked up there by Ruben Starling. Ruben Ulrich, he gets it out towards a player there in Messina. Messina goes across the ground and finds Wingo. And Railways are out of trouble as they go into the centre and find Mitch Boyle.
Mitch Boyle starting to find his feet. For this particular game, I don't think he needs to be told how to find his feet, but he's found them today. Kicks to the outer side. Railways getting on top now. The ball with Chris Scott. He's certainly been impacting, as I've mentioned. I've used that word already once, but it's true. When we're talking about Scott in the context of his inclusion into the Railways lineup, and today's, the ball goes forward now, and it is the young fella in Seth Farmer that takes a nice mark just inside the forward 50 now. Seth Farmer, I don't want to put the mocker on him, but he's got a beautiful kick, Glenn. And
Yes.
we've seen that once or twice. And he's got a kick from just inside 50 on this one. Kicking toward the Augusta Street end with a 2 to 3 goal breeze at his back. So see how he can go. That's Seth Farmer.
Yep, a big kick this one for the young man as Railways try to get their forward line functioning, and they are now. And Seth Farmer gets his first of the afternoon. Goal umpire signals all clear. And it's another score on the board for the Blues. On the GBSC scoreboard, it is 6 goals for 40 to Railways. They lead Towns 2 goals straight. And really it has been a marvellous quarter in the context of this game from Railways. Railways have added 5 goals and Towns have really struggled in this term. They really had an opportunity only moments ago after the Callum Marquis incident to get the ball forward. They couldn't do it, and now all of a sudden they go in with a big deficit heading in towards half-time.
Yeah, it's certainly heading not far away from the half-time break, and probably can't come quick enough for Bo Walker and his men, that is Towns, to regroup. Their first quarter, they sort of held sway somewhat, but Railways have broken the shackles in the second term. One of those players, Chris Scott, has certainly been instrumental. The ball on the half-back line with Adamini, he too is a player of note. Chris Scott is the one with the free kick, though. Chris Scott playing in the middle of the ground today. Been playing at different positions since the beginning of the season. He sends it down the line. It's marked by the big player in Flynn Dillon, the ruckman. Playing a not as instrumental part today, but certainly is strong around the ground. Takes some good marks. The ball spills free. Goes forward for Towns now. Callum Parsons gets it to a teammate. He runs on fiercely down the line. That's Jackson Luff. He's running out of acreage, though, as Luff wanders one way then the other. Eventually gets rid of the ball, puts it into space, but the siren sounds to announce that it is half-time in our Drennan O'Malley game day, and Railways really turned things around since the quarter-time break. It is Railways 6-4, 40. They lead Towns 2 straight goals, 12, and you're listening to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.
Today's Drennan O'Malley.
Railway stole the march in the latter part of that quarter and ran on with the game. Ball back in the centre. We're underway in this third term with thanks to Drennan O'Malley Motors. And umpire Starling puts the ball into the air. Towns looking to lift. In goes Mitchell Boyle, who was very good in that last quarter for Railways. And umpire Starling will come in and throw the ball up again. Looking at goal scorers to half-time for Railways. 2 goals to Chris Scott. Singles to Jordan Williamson, Ben Saunders, Drayden Wingo and Seth Farmer. While for Towns, their goal scorers, Jalen Parsons and Zayn Marwick. Ball on centre wing on the outer side as the very clever Kimberley gets it out towards his teammate there and Jace Price. He gets it up towards the forward line. Looking up there for Jesse Moore on the Francis Street half forward flank. Ball goes out of bounds. The ball will be brought back in by the boundary umpire. 40 plays 12 in favour of the Blues. And Peter, the Skeeters Restaurant Player of the Day, who'd you like for Railways in that term?
Changed a little bit for better players for Railways in that term, and the proof's in the pudding though. Chris Scott had a really good term. He's been consistent right throughout the game to this point. Ben Saunders, Jesse Anamini and Mitch Boyle.
As Towns go forward, can they get the score on the board? They're desperate to get the ball moving. Comes back towards Marquis. Marquis throws the ball forward. Comes back towards the player there in Evans. He feeds it out towards Rowe. Rowe gets it on to a teammate. Now Mitchell Boyle goes back to the youngster for the Blues. And that's the player in Kobe Ryan. Gets it back towards the teammate there in Darcy Rowe. Ball very close to the boundary line. And there'll be a boundary throw in on centre wing in front of the Colin Scruffy Burgess grandstand here at Red Dust Holdings Recreation Ground.
Yeah, it's already casting a shadow onto the recreation ground here this afternoon. The traditional grandstand, players setting themselves. The ball comes in now. The back of the pack is Flynn Dillon. Didn't even have to ruck the ball. He marked it right on his chest. He receives it back off a teammate, and now the ball will come back. Free kick. Slung. He was, and that was Kimberley. Kimberley now gets it across to a teammate. He sends it further afield. There's Messina. A little bit quiet in the second term, but has been influential to say the least, though, for the game. He sends it down the line. Ball's with Scally. Scally plays on now to Messina. Messina on the outside of the centre square on the Francis Street side. Sets it outward once again. For a third time it goes toward that player. Tries to send it forward and is dealt with and taken over the boundary. So the quarter time, the score, I should say at half time, 6-4-40. That was Railways leading Towns the 2 straight goals, 28-point lead to the Bulldogs. Ball coming in now from the Francis Street side. Sun-drenched Francis Street side this afternoon. The ball, well, it's just making its way forward, grudgingly, so to speak. No one's really pushing it. It seems to be just moving through the pack and through the inertia of the game as the ball comes forward, back forward now for, backwards then forward for Towns. Railways have it, onto the boot it goes, into the half-forward area. Boyle has it, he says, I'll have it. He sells the dummy once, twice, goes around a couple of players, sends it into the half-forward area. Up goes Scott. That was good vision by Boyle. Scott gets it on the second attempt, shoots on goal, and scores another major for Railways.
So it didn't take long. Chris Scott gets his third of the afternoon, and a good bit of play there from Railways. So Railways worked the ball forward.
Great vision by Boyle.
Yeah, Mitchell Boyle sold the dummy, as you said, beautifully. He sold it twice. He's in good form, got it on to Chris Scott, and Chris Scott finished it, screwed around the corner and got his third of the afternoon. And on the Adam Hunter Accountant scoreboard, it is a good scoreline for Railways. Railways 7-4. They lead their opponents Towns 2 goals straight. So Railways looking to secure their spot on top of the premiership table. They're undefeated at this stage and ticking along very, very nicely for coach John Reynolds.
Certainly, the ball coming back to the middle now. This quarter brought to you by Drennan O'Malley Motors. And, of course, Ron, John and Rachel will be pretty happy with the scoreboard at the moment. Of course, big Railway supporters, Drennan O'Malley Motors, have been and will continue to be for many years to come. The ball in the middle. Great supporters of Radio Mama too. There's Boyle again. He's quickly set upon, but does well to keep the ball in his keeping. Gets it out to, it's the old guard as he gets it out to Saunders into the half-forward area. Up they go. The mark isn't taken in the half-forward area there as they move forward. The player there to try and take the mark was Chris Scott. He's unable to do so. The ball comes to ground. A free kick going the way of the defender for Towns. It's Farris. Farris racked up a lot of kicks in the first term. Second term, he's out of the game somewhat as the ball was in the sort of kept away from him, but he was probably pushed to the limit as the ball comes into the middle of the ground now. Towns struggling to get their system going now as they've been cut off at most angles by their opponents in Railways. The ball going back the way now of Kimberley. A nice kick into the full forward area. Comes off Scott. Goes away now of a teammate who easily comes forward to shoot the goal. And that play was Damien King. And he scores another goal for Railways. Seth Farmer, sorry. They both look like twins out there at times.
Yeah, both tall, skinny young men.
Seth Farmer. He judged the bounce of the ball as it came down from Scott's kick and toe poked it through for another goal for the Blues. So things have changed dramatically since the early stages of the first June, Glenn.
Yeah, Adamini got the ball on to Kimberley and the ball ended up in the forward line, finished off by Seth Farmer. So Seth has kicked 2 goals now and the scoreboard keeps rolling over for Adam Hunter's accountants and Railways. 8 goals for 52. They lead Towns 2 goals straight. So a very, very big margin now. And Towns look a little bit out of their depth as they go further into this game, as Railways start to assert their authority. They're a big, strong side physically in comparison to the young Town side. Up they go. Lockie Morphew gets the best of it. It was rowed beautifully by Jesse Adamini. Throws it on his boot, comes out towards centre wing, out towards our Radio Mama broadcast box, and the ball go out of play as we quickly go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kiralee War, the member for Geraldton. Up at Mullawa at half-time, a really tight contest there, only 4 points in it. Northampton, 6 goals, 440, lead Mullawa, 5 goals, 636. Out at Greenough, not quite as tight there. Brigades, 12-8-80, lead Rovers, 2 behinds.
Yeah, pretty one-sided affair at Greenough Oval this afternoon, pretty tight. Out there at Mullawa as Railways, I should say Towns break away in a passage of play, led by the player in Josh DeLacy, sends it into space. Can they relieve the pressure somewhat? But the goal would be pretty handy at this stage to stem the flow, and Declan Parsons is desperate to do that, but the ball comes the white line, being the boundary line, comes up all too quickly, and the ball is about to be thrown in once again. In front of the Railways faithful, with big smiles on their faces this afternoon. For the premiership drought for a long time, could this be the year? I know it's early stages, but they continue in this vein. They're certainly to be in the finals race. Get another opportunity as they had 2 years ago to win a grand final, one that was, they believe, snatched out of their hands in the dying moments, Glenn. So free kick now. The mark was taken by the Towns custodian, and that is Corin Berrigan. Corin Berrigan will have a shot on goal.
They need it.
Certainly, Glenn. That's an understatement.
They kicked their last
just on
goal.
50 metres. It's not a bad kick by Berrigan.
Good effort.
It's made the distance and it's made the goals. Good on you, Corin. He scored a much-needed goal for the Bulldogs.
Yes, it was 8-minute mark of the last quarter where they scored their last goal. So it's been a fair period because we're at the 8-minute mark of this third term. The Drennan O'Malley Motors quarter, the premiership quarter, and a good bit of play there from Corin Berrigan. Yeah, getting the job done, so well done to him.
I think I mentioned it before. Take nothing away from Corin and his ability, but he does have a bit of ability in his family. Judd McVie is his cousin, his first cousin, so the family trait is certainly there.
Yeah, so well done to Corin, getting a good goal there. And Towns, let's hope that gave them a little bit of a boost and they can fight their way back and make it a little bit of a contest, because it has been a bit one-way traffic the last 30 minutes or so. Ball back at the centre with field umpire Darren Bryce, who's umpiring in a very good performance with Randall Starling this afternoon. The ball won out of the centre by Jace Price, who's also back at Railways in recent times. Gets it back towards a teammate there for Towns, who throws it on his boot. Cameron Hoffhammer gets it up towards the centre wing where it goes to Marwick. Marwick feeds it out to a teammate there in Callum Marquis. Marquis kicks it up towards half forward. Railways have an opportunity there, and it goes the way of Tristan Simpson. He slaps the ball forward, goes the way now of Kimberley. Kimberley goes by hand to Blake Messina. Messina goes with a short pass to Scully. Scully goes the way of Simpson. Tristan Simpson plays on by hand, and the Railways can mop up through Evans, back to Simpson, and now with Tunbridge. Tunbridge puts it on his boot, kicks towards the boundary line, and the ball goes out of bounds. Just well judged. And in fact, the free kick, the ball will be thrown back in. Boundary umpire, and the umpire put the ball back in just in front of the grandstand here at Red Dust Holding Recreation Ground. And Railways lead 52-18.
Yes, early stages of the second half, the third term. The ball going into play now. Picked up by Tristan Simpson. He's looking for Saunders, or was he? Saunders wasn't equal to the task. Towns go forward now, but they just blaze away as they send it into the half-forward area. Luckily enough, it goes toward a play there in Luff, I think, who's dealt with. He's almost tripped, but the umpire says nothing in that. The ball goes to ground. The Railways defence are working hard. The Towns players just desperate to get it back into their scoring zone, but the Railways defence ensure that doesn't happen. But Towns have another bite of the cherry as Ron Farris comes right down the ground. He sends it inboard and he finds that player there in Marquis. Marquis spins around on a 50-cent piece, sends it down the middle of the ground. That's marked in defence by Rowe. So Rowe now, former Mullawall player, played a bit of, in fact, it's Sam Scully, I apologise. The shadows there, they look very similar, both solid conveyances. As he kicks to the outer side, the Francis Street side of the ground, it's Kimberley. Gets around a player there and plays on a chip kick down the line, and Saunders takes a strong mark in front of a couple of opponents.
Who jumped on the back of him as the way through, and now there'll be a 50-metre penalty. Towns have given away a free kick, and there'll be another 50-metre because that's twice now that player gave him and interfered with him. So Ben Saunders will go from on the half-back line to right up to the half-forward line. So Ben Saunders has never got an easier free kick in his life, so he has an opportunity now to put Railways deep into attack. So Ben Saunders, he'll, by the time he gets there, he's knocked up, coming back with the umpire who's come back that far. So he's gone from the half-back line, and now he's 40 metres out, directly in front, shooting towards the city end. And an opportunity for Railways, Ben Saunders, to get his second goal of the afternoon. So let's see how it goes. Ben Saunders goes right up to the man on the mark, shoots on goal, drops short, off hands, 1 point only. And lucky to get out of that one, Towns. And Adam Hunter, accountant scoreboard, they go to 8 goals, 5, 53. They lead Towns 3 goals straight, 18.
Hello to Grant Pittman and Susan, mine hosts at the Gerald Hotel. Of course, Glenn, you've been there on the odd occasion. The Old Man of the Sea is a nice place to have a meal or two.
It's a lovely spot to go, and it'll be a lovely night up there tonight. I'm sure they'll be very, very busy as they see the ball come out of the centre now through Mitchell Boyle. He gets a kick away, gets a shove in the back. Ball comes out of the back, but it goes the way of a Towns player who stands his ground and did well, Cameron Hoffhammer. He didn't do too well a moment or two back, but the ball comes forward now. And Railways have an opportunity as Jace Price throws boot to ball. And from 30 metres on a 45-degree angle, Jace Price gets his first of the afternoon. And Railways get another score. And Jace Price starting to play some good footy back at the Blues. And Jace Price gets his club's 9th goal of the day. And the Adam Hunter accountant scoreboard, it is 9 goals 5 to 3 goals straight. So a pretty hefty margin in favour of the Blues, the league leaders at the present stage, as we wrap up round 5 this afternoon of the Freemasons round for the premiership season.
And the body language of the little water boy said it all there for Towns, Glenn, as the ball trickled through for another goal. Hands on hips, head went down, but he still went out and done his job, so good on the youngster.
Yeah, he didn't stop.
He didn't stop. So
hopefully the Towns players playing in the same mode as he is.
Yeah, ball back in the middle now, and it is a one-sided affair. As Railways go to 9 goals 5, leading Towns 3 straight goals. Started off at a frenetic pace this particular game, but Railways, their percentage around the ball is a lot better. Has been most of the teams have played so far this year. What they do when they get the ball is very effective. The stats show it as the ball comes out now to this player, and that's Rowe. He gets it down the line, gets it to Kimberley. Kimberley doesn't waste any time, sends it inboard. He finds this player in Damien King. An unassuming player, King. Certainly knows where the sticks are, a little bit far out on this occasion. Looking for that player, and he took a nice mark. He is the strongest player probably in the competition. I'm talking about Flynn Dillon. Took a nice strong mark there, Glenn, and now we'll have a shot on goal.
So Flynn has an opportunity to get a goal. Flynn has been quiet by his very high standards this afternoon, but still been a very good contributor, as he always is. He never has a bad game. And Flynn Dillon has an opportunity from 40 metres out, directly in front, get another big goal for his side. Goal umpire signals 1 point, and I think it's Wog, the goal umpire down there. and a minus score result. So 60 plays 19, 60 plays 18 on the Adam Hunter scoreboard as Towns bring the ball quickly out, and it's with the Towns defence. Towns defenders under the pump for good parts, particularly the last two quarters. So the kick goes from the Towns defender up towards centre wing on the outer side. A good mark taken there by the player there for the Bulldogs. And Towns regroup. They have it now through the hard-running player who's impressed me this afternoon. And Towns going to get a goal. They run into an open goal. And
Jalen Parsons.
Yeah, Jalen Parsons hasn't an easier goal than that all day, all year perhaps. So a good rebound there from Towns. We had written them off, but they keep coming. And well done to Jalen Parsons. That is his second goal of the afternoon. And a good performance from Towns. They took the ball from end to end. And they did it very, very well indeed. On the Adam Hunter accountant scoreboard, it is Railways 9 goals 6, who leading their opponents, Towns, who have got now 3 goals. Got 4 goals now.
Yeah, 4 straight goals.
4 straight goals. So they've been very efficient. So well done to them.
They certainly have. And just when I thought Railways were shutting shop in the third term, Towns have left the door or pried the door open just a little ajar, Glenn.
Yeah, there's they've got to play the game out. It's important they do to continue their improvement. As we see the ball one out of the centre, this time by the player there in Flynn Dillon. He goes only as far as Towns to Payton Mason, but the ball's on the rebound with Blake Bunter. He gets it up the ground, finds the teammate there in Jordan Williamson. Williamson gets it in towards the centre of the half-forward area, picked up by Blake Bunter.
Oh.
Bunter shoots on goal, and he's got another one for the Blues from 35 metres out on a 45-degree angle. And Blake Bunter gets the 10th goal of the afternoon. So on the scoreboard for Adam Hunter Accountants, 10 goals 6, which is a pretty good scoreline. 66 to the opponent's Towns this afternoon. 4 goals straight, 24.
Injuries played a part in Blake Bunter's career to this point. He's not a very big player, but he certainly plays 100% of his capacity, that's for sure. And then this year he's become somewhat of a mainstay in the lineup, and I hope for his sake that he's able to stay injury-free and keep his spot in what should be quite a side that's going to go a long way into the finals, that's for sure, in season 2025 in Railways. And talking about Blake Bunter, the last goal scored by that young fella. So the ball back in the middle now, 10-6 plays, 4 straight goals. And just when you thought Towns might be edging their way back a little, Railways put paid to that. Up they go, and it's Flynn Dillon who robes his own ball. Geez, marvellous. Out of the middle he comes. A nice kick into the half-back line, and it's marked by another player that's incredible, and that's Ron Farris. Ron Farris kicks it out toward our broadcast position, but there is the debutant this year, and Kobe Ryan, this today I should say, gets it down to Williamson. Williamson plays on now into the half-forward area. He's looking for support down there. Damien King runs in to collect the ball. In fact, it's a guy that I mixed him up with once before that does the better, but he loses possession as it goes toward the boundary and over the wide line. So in the half-forward area now for Railways, the ball about to be thrown in. As I said earlier, a bit disconcerting the crowd here today, but as I arrived at the ground, Glenn, there were a lot of cars outside, so a lot more people probably here than it shows from our vantage point. So the ball coming the way now of this bloke in Messina. Messina plays on now, gets it to Kobe Ryan. He puts it onto his boot. Nice kick by Ryan. Yeah, beautiful kick. And it was lace out, and it's marked now by Damien King. So Damien King will have a shot on goal. He's a pretty good goal sneak too. So both King and Farmer, youngsters with a good boot on them, Glenn.
Yes.
And Damien King will have a shot on goal from about 25 to 30 metres when he gets onto this one. Probably a lot closer, probably about 20 metres. The man is on the mark about in that vicinity.
He's gone back as far as he is from the goals.
Exactly. That's why it seemed further away. So in he comes now. He's having a shot toward the Shenton Street end. Oh, what's he done? Has he shanked it? No, he's kept it in, just kept it in. And it's gone through for another goal for Railways. And they continue to power ahead. And that's their 10th, 11th goal of the afternoon, I should say. So Railways go to 11 goals, 8, leading Towns the 4 straight goals.
And that is the 8th goal scorer of the day for Railways. So they're doing it pretty well.
That's pretty good having that spread too, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, marvellous. So 8 goal scorers, and if it keeps going like this, there'll be a few more trying to get in on the scorebook as the game unfolds. But a pretty big margin now, and it wasn't that big at halftime, but it certainly has powered on in this quarter. We've seen 5 goals added, 5 goals, 2 to Railways and 2 goals to Towns since half-time. So quite a big scoreline. Ball back in the centre, dying stages of this third term, the premiership quarter for Drennan O'Malley Motors. Umpire Randall Starling puts the ball into the air once more. Flynn Dillon is big enough to take the ball and clever enough to take the ball out of the centre, but the ball is being picked up. A Towns player was tackled while not in possession, so lucky there for the Towns side. So Towns can clear the ball there, and the young man got the ball forward in Johnson, gets it up towards half forward, and Railways come out with numbers, but picked up by Towns, throws it on the boot, ball running towards the scoreline.
That was Marwick. He's gone out of the game a little, hasn't he?
Yeah, they've run him out of the game, and he's been lacking for opportunities perhaps, and another minus score to Towns. So Towns go to 4 goals, 1, 26, their first point of the quarter. In the dying stages of the third quarter, they've been pretty efficient, just haven't kicked enough goals to this point. So Railways have the ball, and they get the ball a little bit further up the ground, and a very good mark taken from Chris Scott. Chris Scott's been everywhere this afternoon, plays on, centres the ball, and he's looking there for Flynn Dillon, but it's roved beautifully by Blake Messina. Messina comes out wide, looking for Wingo. Wingo throws it on his boot, finds Jesse Adamini. He feeds it out towards Darcy Rowe. Darcy Rowe from centre wing kicks it up towards half forward, where he finds the young player for Railways in Seth Farmer.
Seth Farmer, bit of a revelation for Railways, coming from their juniors and certainly paying dividends for their junior development. Goes away of Saunders now. Saunders marks just inside the forward 50. There's a bloke all on his lonesome. I think it's Price, isn't it? Over the back of the pack. He'll get a free kick as he pushed to ground. Yeah,
the Towns player there, Caleb Sewell, caught out of position and interfered. And it's an opportunity now for Railways to finish off the quarter as they started with another goal. And Jace Price is that player. So Jace has kicked 1 goal already this afternoon and lining up for his second of the afternoon and the 12th for his team. So Jace Price from 30 metres out, shoots on goal.
He's hit the post.
So a little bit unlucky there, lucky for Towns. And on the scoreboard for Adam Hunter, Adam Hunter goes to the scoreboard, sees Railways go to 73 to Towns 25.
Yeah, a few more posts around at the recreation ground than we've been used to over the many years we've been calling football, and there are 4 big metal posts that are making a difference here.
Yeah, very interesting to see. I look forward to seeing them being used.
The lights,
they were used last night for an under-16 game, which was well attended. It was a Railways Northampton game, so it's great to see those beautiful lights working and working so well as Blake Messina keeps the pressure on, gets the ball up the ground where he finds a player there in Jager Williams. Jager Williams asking the question. The Towns player appeared to go 1 step forward. The umpire gave him the benefit of the doubt. Jager Williams plays on now, goes up towards Jesse Adamini. Adamini couldn't mark the ball. Ball comes towards Towns player who's tackled. That player is Jake Chapman, and umpire Starling will come in and throw the ball up. Time ticking by, but there's been a few goals scored by Railways and Towns in this quarter, more by Railways. The ball comes the way of Ben Saunders to Jace Price, to Williams, Williams to Adamini, Adamini to Wingo, Wingo by hand to Price. Price gets a handball away, but it's cut off by Chapman, but he kicks it straight back towards Jager Williams, and Jager Williams sets sail for home, but Jager is offline and sees the ball out of bounds on the full in the dying stages of this third term, the premiership quarter on Drennan O'Malley Motors game day.
Ron Farris getting a real workout in defence there for his beloved Bulldogs this afternoon. Been part of a rebuild with the club over several years. Of course, a premiership player with the Bulldogs and part of their rebuild as well. So very much part of the history of the Towns Footy Club as it goes into space now. Running onto it as Marquis, cleverly toe-poked into space. Now the captain runs onto it. Can he do something with it? I'm talking about Beau Walker. He's actually almost tackled and hits the deck as the ball goes forward, and inertia takes it forward from a kick and kicks it out on the full. So a free kick going the way of Railways now as they send it inboard. Jeez. Marquis watched the ball so closely then. Gives it back to a teammate who shoots on goal. Gee, that was a pretty good effort. We're talking about Leon Jones Jr. He shoots on goal, but is inaccurate. If he was only told he had a month of Sundays, Glenn, it could have been another major.
Yes, he certainly could have run in a little bit quicker, a little bit further, but he didn't, and put himself under pressure. Another minor score results. So the ball will be brought back in by the Railways defence, and the Railways clearly in control as Railways go out forward, and it comes back to half back where it's picked up by Railways. And they get it up towards the player there in Wingo. He couldn't control the ball. In goes a teammate. Towns have an opportunity now. They have players around the ball. Towns player gets pushed. The umpire said he was driven into the ground. And it's played down the ground. So a umpire watched that, and he watched it very closely.
And the ball was with Bo Walker.
So Bo Walker, the coach of the Towns club, has an opportunity to kick his first of the afternoon and kick his club's fifth of the day. So Bo Walker, 20 metres out, directly in front, kicking towards the city end. An important kick for Bo, and he doesn't miss from there, naturally enough. And on the Adam Hunter accountant scoreboard, we see Towns 5 goals 2, and they trail Railways 11-7, 73. But to Towns' credit, they keep coming.
This quarter brought to you by Drennan O'Malley Motors. If you're looking for a new or used car, can't get any new ones down there, but they look pretty new when you drive past any day, Glenn. They're so clean and shiny and look pretty fantastic. So a used car salesman, he has been Ron for a very long time, and very, very reliable, well respected in the community, and you can do better than buy your used car at Drennan O'Malley Motors. And you can talk to Ron, you can talk to Rachel, or you can talk to John. They'll all look after you, Glenn.
Yes, and Bo Walker gets his side's much-needed goal. So in this quarter, we've seen Towns add 3 goals, but the trouble for them, we've seen Railways add 5. So Towns are evening it up a little, and they're still fighting hard. It's a very long quarter, this one. It's going into our 25 minutes now, well and truly, or a little bit longer. Ball goes forward now, and Jesse Adamini takes a good mark on centre wing. He's steady, feeds it out to Chris Scott. Chris Scott's got a left foot, so he's going to run into trouble. Gets caught in possession. Good tackle put on him by Chapman. So Chapman goes by hand to Rowan Farris. He throws boot to ball. Looking there for Callum Marquis. He slaps the ball forward, goes over the back, goes the way of a teammate now in Jalen Parsons. He's got a bit of pace. Gets boot to ball, kicks it up towards full forward. Looking up there for some assistance, but the Railways player was held while not in possession. And the Railways can mop up through Tunbridge. Tunbridge takes them on and up the ground, I think. So we see a ball go up the ground. So it's a 50-metre kick and a penalty, I should say. So we've seen a few of those this afternoon. So the ball now on half back as Drew Tunbridge plays on, but he picks out Marwick. And Marwick has the ball for the Bulldogs.
It looks like a tennis game. They look like each side of the net there.
Yeah.
As Marwick collects it and sends it back forward into the half-forward area, and DeLacy takes the mark. So young DeLacy, wearing the orange boots, plays on into the half-forward line, looking for support, but doesn't meet any intended target. The defence for Railways are finding it a little bit easier than Towns, but Towns are judging the bounce of the ball better, but the siren sounds all too quickly. To announce that it is three-quarter time here in a Drennan O'Malley game day. And at three-quarter time, it is Towns, Railways who have a handy lead. Railways 11-7. They lead Towns 5-2. And you're listening to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football. Today is Drennan O'Malley Motors game day.
Top of the football, Drennan O'Malley Motors Game Day. Radio Mama, your home of GNFL footy. Glenn Barndon and Pete Forenza with you on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Hope it's going well with you. It's round 5 of the GNFL Freemasons Premiership season. And at three-quarter time, Railways in very good position. Railways have led all day. They now lead by 41 points. Brigades are doing the job also on Rovers. Looking forward to the score coming through from Mullawar and Northampton. But as we get this final term underway, with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants, Railways are 11-7, 73, and Towns are 5-2, 32. As the ball comes out of the centre, Railways have it through Jesse Adamini. He goes by hand to a teammate there in Williams. Williams gets it over towards Messina. Messina slaps it back towards Adamini. On centre wing, goes by hand, finds the player there in Williams, and the ball will be thrown back into play. Goal scorers until three-quarter time. Chris Scott for Railways has 3. Seth Farmer 2. Singles to Jordan Williamson, Ben Saunders, Jace Price, Blake Bunter and Damien King. While for Towns, their goal scorers, Jalen Parsons 2, Zane Marwick 1, and Corin Berrigan 1, and Bo Walker 1.
Another mark is taken by the youngster. As you're listening to Glenn, then give you the details of the goal scorers today in our match of the day. And the youngster has taken another strong mark. And that's Seth Farmer.
Yeah, so he's lining up for number 3.
He is. He's showing that he's going to be a dominant forward in our competition. If he stays that long, that is. He may be snapped up and go to the big smoke. But Seth Farmer shooting toward the Augusta Street end. Jeez, he's got that lovely style, lovely kicking style. Straight through the middle. That's another goal to Zeth. And Railways move further ahead. And Glenn, better players for mine in that third term. I narrowed it down to 3. And they were Flynn Dillon, Chris Scott, and surprise, surprise, Mitch Boyle.
Yeah, looking at better players for Towns, and they continue to be the same ones at the moment. Callum Marquis continues to work very, very hard. He's taken a fair hammering today, but doing well. Zane Marwick, likewise, working hard. Drew Forrester and Rowan Farris. And, James Simmons has jumped in and done his bit at times along the way. And young Leon Jones, he's been very impressive as well, I thought. But Towns finding it a bit tough as another score rolls on the board for Railways and Seth Farmer there.
Yes, a nice goal from Zeth and exciting prospects for the Railways faithful in that young bloke. The ball coming out of the middle now, and he continues to work hard. I'm sure he's amongst your better players. Wearing the number 5, I'm talking about Callum Marquis. Doesn't give up that young fella. Not much of him, but he's certainly got the smarts. This player too, Forrester. Is he still the captain, Glenn? He sends it into the full forward area. Gee, nice mark, a beautiful mark is taken by Parsons. And he's a big, strong fella, and he just bursts through the pack. A beautiful leading mark, and he now will have a shot on goal. So they're not giving up, Towns. They're continuing on with their program. And now a shot on goal at the Shenton Street or southern end by Parsons. Is it going to make the distance? Going to drop short, come off hands. A nice toe poke here from a forward would be good, but it's run through for a minor score. You can do that in our competition. And they play on now out of defence to Railways. Coming out of the fence, the player is dealt with late, and there'll be a free kick going down the ground. No, umpire doesn't see that. The ball comes back for Towns. Play then Leon Jones does pretty well. Sends it into the full forward area, but there's Messina, the youngster. Takes a very awkward mark, but very clever one indeed as he gathers the ball, kicks it out toward this player, and Flynn Dillon, he just snaps it out of the air. That's mine, he says, as he does on many occasions. Goes away to Saunders. Saunders down the ground. He's looking for support there from Williamson. Williamson didn't read the play on that occasion. Goes back the way of his Towns opponent into space now, and Towns have the run of the green, or do they? As the ball will come back now.
Free kick out of the tray, Drew Forrester.
Probably should have let them play on. They had a bit of a run on, but Drew Forrester has the free kick. Must admit that has been how the umpires have been playing it so far this season, Glenn. And this season they have too. But so they haven't sort of been wishy-washy on that one, that's for sure. So they do call it back. Going the way of the youngster in Sewell. Heard that name in the corridors of Towns Footy Club for a long time, haven't we?
No, it's a great name.
It certainly is. And of course his uncle, his pop and his great uncle, certainly great players for the Town side. The ball on the far side with Scally now. He gets it to a teammate. Down the ground they go. That's Tunbridge. Tunbridge down the line to a player in Bunter. He sends it inboard. There's Boyle. Ring a Rosie. He goes one way, then the other, Boyle. A long way around, but he keeps possession, that's for sure, as Tunbridge comes further down the ground and delivers the ball and finds that player in Price. Price plays on now, inside the corridor. Up they go, no mark is taken. Towns do the better on this occasion. Coming out of defence, they do well. Kick it straight toward that player in Bunter. Bunter for the Blues. Sends it inboard, and there he is, Jesse Moore. In fact, it's not Jesse Moore. It is, of course, the player there, that the youngster, Damien King, who takes a nice mark. And he's a nice goal sneak too, as I mentioned. Two good goal sneaks they have now, do Railways. A key ruckman, two good centre-half forward, good centre-half back, and two great goal sneaks. They're really looking okay on paper, aren't they, Glenn?
They certainly are. Certainly are indeed.
Damien King now. He'll kick from just inside 50 toward the Augusta Street end. He's got to really launch this one. It's going to drop short, come off hands over the back of the pack as a picked up by a Railways player. Yes, it is Saunders. He tries to get away with it, gives it to Seth Farmer. He spins around, tries to put it onto his boot, but it's curtailed in his efforts. And the ball, I think we've thrown up. Free kick's going the way of Ben Saunders. He must have been dealt with when he got rid of the ball. Gee, that's a clever umpire that saw all that. There was so much going on. So Starling was the umpire to identify that. So the kick from Saunders. Go to the check side, Ben, if you're old enough to, or young enough to understand what that is. Maybe not.
No. He got it, though.
He did. He's got the goal. Ben Saunders, you beauty. And the umpire's double-checking, though. He reckons it went over the top of the goalpost, perhaps. So we'll see what happens here. No, he says it's a point.
Yeah,
That's
I think we thought that initially, didn't we? But, yeah.
It certainly went over the top of the goalpost. And good umpiring there, Glenn.
Yeah, good to see they using each other to help each other out as we quickly go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirralie War, the member for Geraldton. Up at Mullawa, a thriller there. Northampton lead at three-quarter time. Northampton 10-6-66. Lead Mullawa 8-11-59. So a good tight contest there. Not a lot in it. 7 points, in fact. And the other game being played out at Greenough. Brigades 18 goals 11, 119 to Rovers 2-3-15. That's the three-quarter time score there. So a big margin for the Brigades game over Rovers and a really tight contest up at Mullawa as we expect. But at the moment, it's Northampton by 7 points.
Yeah. Mullawa will be in some tight encounters in the last couple of weeks. Can they hold on to this one? They took a game out over Towns last week as well. Comes in at the recreation ground, going the way of Boyle. Gee, he's racked up kicks since the first term where he's a little bit quiet. He kicks it into the half-forward area, full-forward area now. Picked up by Price, and he kicks another goal for Railways. So Price scores for the Blues, and they are dominant at the recreation ground.
Yeah, doing it very well now as they continue on their merry way, and a good performance from the Blues and a good effort from the Railways forward there, who finished that one off and did it pretty well. And another goal to Railways. So Railways doing it, and Railways player, I think it might have been Jesse Adamini who got that.
Might have been. It's just like silhouettes up there, isn't it?
Yeah, Jesse Adamini is that player. So Jesse Adamini gets a goal. So they become, that's Jesse's first goal of the day, which is
quite by his standards.
Because he usually kicks quite a few. And but he becomes the 10th goal scorer of the afternoon for Railways. So Railways continue on their merry way. In the second term, they started to stretch the friendship, and they've run on since that point. So the ball is with the centre, and umpire Bryce has picked out a free kick, and it goes the way of Towns. So Towns move the ball forward now through the hard-working player there.
Oh, good mark.
He gets it up towards the forward line, and as Peter mentioned, a good strong mark. A lot to like about this young player. He's a very handy player. Connor Lewis is his name, and he's marked some 40 metres out. Directly in front, kicking. A
policeman, I believe, Glenn.
Oh, good to see. So there's a few policemen, a few teachers in the Towns lineup in recent times, so that's good to see. There goes the kick from that man. Looks pretty good off the boot. Fades away to the right-hand side. Almost
Parsons.
A good mark to Parsons. And he sees the ball through for a force behind. So a scoreline for Towns. 5 goals 4. 34 to Railways. 13 goals 8. And that is on the scoreboard for GBSC in this final term.
Ball coming out of defence now. Towns still having a A bit of using their opportunities when they come along, but they've been few and far between as ball goes back the way now of Chris Scott. He's settled back in this term, laying the ball off to Tunbridge now. Tunbridge back into the middle of the ground, picked up by a teammate who plays on in Darcy Rowe. And back the way Messina now. Down the line they go into space. Wingo didn't take the mark. Over the back it's picked up by Hoffhammer. Hoffhammer plays on now into space. Can they do something with it? Get another goal just to make things a little bit more interesting. Goes away now of that player. And Jackson Luff, he sends it into space. Players diving on top of it. Parsons was one of those. Ball goes further afield, comes off hands and spills over the boundary. So the ball about to be thrown in as we move further into the final term here at the recreation ground. It's going to be a reasonable win to Railways, even at this early stage in the final term. But Towns are still doing their best with what they got, Glenn.
Yeah, 10 minutes gone in this final term, with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants. And Towns are going to have their second loss in succession. Railways continue on their winning way. So Railways sitting at the top of the premiership table, and nothing will change in that today. But still waiting on what could be an interesting scoreline from up there at Mullawall. It's a 7-point ball game in favour of the visitors Northampton at this stage, but the last quarter is underway, so we look forward to bringing you those scores if they come through this afternoon. Looking forward to that. Ball comes the way of Towns now. They get it up towards their forward 50. Railways have it through Mitchell Boyle. He's tackled high, and Mitchell Boyle will have the free kick on half-back. Kicks it across the ground. Looking here for Ben Saunders. Ben Saunders uses his big body frame and takes a good, strong mark. Two Towns blokes looked at him as he marked. He goes on now. Does Ben goes out wide, looking there for Jace Price. Towns can mop up. They get the ball handballed straight back towards Railways, and Railways putting good pressure on as Railways go forward through Jace Price. Kicks it up towards full forward. Looking up there for Jesse Adamani. Ball socket forward. And I think Seth Farmer's got another one.
He's socketed through.
Seth Farmer has got
a Ronaldo.
So well done to him. He's on fire today. Seth Farmer gets his fourth of the afternoon. So he's clearly one of the better players. He kicked the first goal of this term, and now he's kicked another one. So Seth Farmer is doing very well. And the Blues continue to march forward. And on the GBSC scoreboard, it is Railways 14 goals 8. They lead Towns 5 goals 4. And you're tuned to Radio Mummy, your home of GNFL footy. And, of course, there's been a big weekend, and we'll bring you up to date with scores from around the grounds as they come to hand.
Friends on Sunday tomorrow, Glenn, coming from St Lawrence Parish or School. They've got their big garage sale. They have a big one every year or every half year. So, Friends on Sunday coming you direct from the big garage sale tomorrow.
Very good. Of course, St Lawrence Primary School celebrating 85 years, which is pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, it is pretty special. My dad went there, I went there, my brother went there, so it's pretty important to our family. So it's been a very important part of our lives, and congratulations to St Lawrence, and we'll probably talk a little bit about that tomorrow at the garage sale.
Yes, there wouldn't be too many families that haven't had family or friends that have gone to St Lawrence over those 85 years, and certainly still doing a fine job.
Are there any nuns still there, Glenn? Do you know?
There
the
aren't.
Nazareth South Sisters?
No.
So,
Sister Mari was there as a headmaster when my daughters were going to school there. And no, Sister Mari retired, and since that time...
A very big part with the Nazareth
Sister
South
Monica
Sisters.
was there for a while as well. But since those times, there hasn't been.
Matt Kimberley shooting on goal. He's really launching it. Has he got the distance? No, he hasn't gone through for the minor score. Glenn, Mitch Boyle has really stepped up since the first term. A little bit quiet, but he certainly has dominated since then. Yeah,
he's worked his way in. You can see his fitness is as good now as it has been for a long time. His performances this year have been good. And Railways are working very well together. They're getting the run off the half-back line. They just had too much strength and power for Towns. They certainly drift off in the end because they just don't have the depth and they don't have the strength, the physical strength. They've got a lot of young players out there. But they're learning and they're improving all the time. And their performance today, they certainly haven't stopped trying. But Railways have been pretty formidable as they go forward again. Can Railways get on the end of that again? But Towns defender does well. Whistle on play. Umpire Randall Starling will come in and throw the ball up just on the teeth of goals. So Railways an opportunity to get their 15th if they can get a handle on it. It's only metres from goal.
Not far away.
Ball slapped to forward. Towns would be probably best to try and knock it through. They're keeping it in. Gives Railways an opportunity to rebound. But the Railways player is held up, and umpire will come in once again and throw the ball up.
Beautiful afternoon at the recreation ground, Glenn. I love this place, and at the moment it's a picture with the huge shadows coming from the grandstand and around.
Yes, there's 15 minutes gone in this last term, and a pretty good performance from Railways. Railways clearly on top of the premiership table, so just look at the premiership table at the moment, because Railways have done very well so far this season. They've done everything right. They've won all their games. You can't do much more than that, and that's what they have done. And Railways clearly on top at the moment. Towns, they will drop out, won't drop out, but they'll drop from that position and be overtaken, I would think, although Chapman Valley have the bye today. The Towns may hang on because Chapman Valley have got the bye today, but Brigades are going to win by a massive amount, so they'll probably go to second spot.
I reckon they will, because they've got the 2 wins.
Yeah, that's right. And they've got a massive percentage today. Their percentage
so
wasn't too
probably
good.
Railways, Brigades, Chapman Valley.
Yeah, and they'll all have 8 points.
Mm-hmm.
Railways have 16 points, I should say.
Yeah.
Towns will have 8. Chapman Valley and Brigades. So that and then we see what happens between Northampton and Mullawall to see where those two, in which one of them, of course, will win the 4 points and go a little bit higher on the premiership table.
A beautiful kick by Flynn Dillon goes in. I think Bunter has taken the mark. The youngster, he's kicked a goal already today. He's directly in front. Glenn, next week we head to Kalbarri, but I reckon we might get wet.
Well, there's talk that it's going to be a wet weekend, so I don't think anyone would complain after the dry spell we have and a pretty late start to the season. So there'll be a lot of happy people if it was raining in Kalbarri, because getting up that far north, generally everyone else is getting a drink too, as Blake Bunter sets sail for home.
Goal number 2 for Blakey
today.
today.
Another one, so Blake Bunter gets his second, as Peter mentioned, and another score on the board for Railways. So Blake Bunter, he's been good this afternoon, as he has been throughout the year, as you've mentioned already this afternoon. And on the GBSC scoreboard, it is Railways 15 goals 10, and they lead their opponents Towns 5 goals 4. So 11 goal margin at the moment in favour of the Blues. So a big win coming up for Railways once again.
I don't know. I think the Northampton Shire will have the ground looking tickety-boo next week up there at Northampton, Glen, because I should say at Kalbarri, because it is a beautiful little ground, and as we know, with the picket fence and all, it's just a great little complex to go to and watch footy.
And then watch the Kangaroos come on after the game and have a bit of a pick on the over. Which is
you stop
good
fighting them, Glenn.
Yes, that's right. It's always good to see the kids playing, and it'll certainly be a big day. And it's certainly good to see the Kalbarri community and the Northampton Shire getting right behind GNFL footy and making it happen. So let's hope that Northampton could put their best foot forward, because they're up against a pretty formidable side, but we do know it's a relatively small ground.
Yeah, it is.
And it can be plugged up a bit. So I guess that Northampton will be trying to slow the potency of Railways down a little bit next weekend.
Ball going forward or back, I should say, for Railways. They have possession through Messina into the half-forward area, looking for Jace Price, but the better player on that occasion was Bo Walker, taking a strong mark in front of his opposite number. Bo Walker, he hasn't played a lot today. He's been managed a little bit around the place, coming on and off the bench. A short pass didn't work well. It went to Callum Marquis, but Marquis had to work hard to keep it. Loses possession in the end. The ball coming out now, coming away of the youngster and moving forward. And done pretty well there in Kobe Ryan, his first game for the Blues. Congratulations, Kobe. He's going to have his first game with a win. Ball into space, picked up now by Railways going forward, but goes across the face of goal, and lucky enough it's picked up by the defender for Towns, who takes it over the white line. Just, you can't do that in AFL anymore, but we can do it, and you need to use it well in a game like this today, Glenn.
That's right. You'd be running out pretty often, wouldn't you? Certainly you can't use it as a ploy in AFL footy. They're pretty strict on that, but that's the way they can umpire, because that's the way the game is organised there. The ball comes back into play and comes back to Railways. Railways, Jesse Adamini has the ball now. He turns around, gives it to Kimberley. Kimberley kicks it towards goal. Ball running free.
Whoa.
But it goes to the wrong side of the post. And for Railways, the right side of the post for Towns. 101 plays 34.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cricket score now, isn't it?
It's got away in the last little while. So the ball will be brought back into play. Someone's getting prepared for a cool night. Got the heater going, the smoke coming out from over there. I hope it is a heater. We saw the fire engines here earlier. They probably should be here now by the look of it. So,
I hope it's not a fish and chip shop or something like that.
Yes. So there's a bit of smoke coming from the roof. I thought someone has got their wood heater, but it looks like it might be. Yeah, it is a wood heater, I think. I hope it is anyway. As we see Railways kicking for goal once again. 45 metres out, 45-degree angle, kicking to the city end. And he's been very good today, has Jace Price. And Jace Price, ball is slapped away just at the nick of time. And Railways still have the opportunity. They have it deep in their forward line, so they go forward to go back. And Chris Scott brings it up and finds Blake Messina. Blake Messina now 50 metres from goal. Centres it to the danger spot. Two Towns players fly. They spoil each other. In goes a Railways player. Can they get the ball up? But umpire Starling will have no option but to come in and throw the ball up again. Middle stages of this final term with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants. As the ball goes up in the air, Towns win it this time and a player is interfered with. And that player is Lachlan Morphew, who's slugged the game out well today. And it's good to see him still firing at the end of the game. Lachlan Morphew feeds a handball out to a teammate, and Towns getting a little bit of run now. And this is the first time they've had a little bit of run for a while, but the kick is cut off. And the man to do it is Flynn Dillon. Flynn Dillon, the ruckman, brings it across the ground where he finds Darcy Moore. Darcy Moore kicks it up the ground and finds Ben Saunders. The veterans playing a good game again this afternoon. Ben Saunders plays on, short pass, and finds a player there in King. King gets it out to a player in Adamini. A ball comes out, pack develops, and umpire Bryce will come in and throw the ball up again. So the umpires have earned their keep this afternoon, done a fine job. Once again, as we saw in the first quarter, all the players of both sides forward of centre, but the score has blown out quite considerably since quarter time. It's been a one-way street for most of the day.
We must let people know the GT Russell Chartered Accountants are the sponsors of the final term right throughout season 2024. Hello, Grant and his lovely wife Michelle. I dined with them last weekend, Glenn, so good to catch up with them and good to have their support again this year.
It certainly is, and they have been a long-time supporter of football and a long-time supporter of Radio Mumma, which is great to see. As Kimberley goes by hand to Boyle, Boyle kicks it up towards half forward, looking there for his teammate. Ball goes away of a Railways player who's caught in possession, didn't get boot to ball. So the Towns defender is rewarded, so well done to him. Plays on by hand now, and Towns go through Rowan Farris. He goes the way of Leon Jones. Back to Marquis, to Leon Jones, back to Marquis. So Towns making hard work of it. Advantage rule paid, and Callum Marquis kicks it forward. So there's 2-on-1. Can Railways get the ball clear? In goes Ulrich, slaps the ball forward. In goes Jalen Parsons, tries to soccer the ball in front of himself. Ball comes out, goes the way of Blake Messina. He feeds it out towards Ulrich, back to Messina. Messina kicks it up the ground and finds Kimberley. Kimberley by hand goes towards centre wing, looking there for Ben Saunders, but roved beautifully by Blake Bunter. Puts it on his left boot, up towards full forward, and out running towards the ball is the player there who gave away a free kick in the end in Seth Farmer. He put a tackle on the Towns player. So Towns can regroup. Rowan Farris there. Almost runs into trouble, but it's good enough to get out of it. Plenty of experience. Goes the way now of Jones. Jones brings the ball inboard, looks to Bo Walker, who gets clean bowled. Ball goes the way of Morphew. Back to Walker. Walker's tackled, brought to ground. Umpire said he had no prior opportunity. The ball was held to him, and umpire Starling will come in and throw the ball up. 101 plays 34 on the GBSC scoreboard in favour of Railways. Railways have won every game this year, so this is their fourth win, and they've done it pretty well.
Yeah, clearly on top of the premiership table after this evening, Glenn, that's for sure. The ball in space goes away of this player in Adamini, plays on a nice short kick. Gee, that was lace out. That was beautiful stuff. He easily finds the player in the full forward position. Darcy Rowe, yep. Darcy Rowe takes a nice mark. As I said, Darcy Rowe playing a bit with the, I should say, Swan Districts Footy Club in recent years. Back here in Geraldton, Rowe's kick on goal is a good one. It's straight through.
A point.
Oh, it looked pretty straight from here, but who do we to judge? It's gone through for the minor score, but Railways are going to run out big winners here this afternoon. That takes them to 16. Is that 15 goals?
Yep.
11, is it?
That's right.
15 goals. No. 15 goals.
12, is it?
Maybe 10. I don't know. The scorer attendant likes to put up the score and then stand in front of it, so that's pretty easy. Pretty hard to see, but let's see what happens now. As the ball comes back out of defence, the siren sounds to announce that Railways have, made a statement today and sit clearly on top of the premiership table in the GNFL. Will they be moved from there in the remainder of season 2024? Only time will tell. The final analysis in our Drennan O'Malley game day. Railways 15-12 have defeated Towns 5-4, and you're listening to Radio Mama. We are the home of GNFL football.
Our Drennan O'Malley Motors GNFL game day is brought to you by